had a question. I can wait. Never mind.
Just unpush the button, quick.
Putting it in the announcements. Because otherwise nobody's going to know what the fuck's going on. Wow, that's quick, fucking A.
I think.
Oh shit,
yeah,
we're live. We're live!
We're live.
It's going now. There you go.
I'm just pulling up the itinerary because now it's gone.
From the dev channel.
Yeah, it's just the most recent post besides one update.
Oops.
I think. Is it? Yeah.
Yes, it is. To answer your question, one update, I completely forgot, and I need to do it. I need to look at it because I'm interested in the thing that you've added. So, need to look at that.
Sure.
I'll probably do that tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem. It's probably not the best idea to do that on the stream, just in case there's some kind of hiccup.
That's cool.
The
So
one
I'll
thing I
just
wanted to talk-
yeah, go for it. Go on.
The one thing I wanted to mention was with the squad control marker, it's still sort of in development. So there's a convar you can set to turn it on and off. It's like SV
That's cool.
visible command point or something. Because right now it's just using a hammer editor model. It looks really bad. So I wanted to have that toggle off if you wanted to show something.
That's cool. No worries. I think that's a good idea of having like a physical representation of where you're sending your soldiers.
And
Sure.
I think that'd be good. I think that'd be good too if we decide to go with that Republic Commando sort of squad system.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It would be fun. I've been really hammering the squad sort of stuff, in pointing the soldiers at the ceiling and at light fixtures and all sorts of random crap just to see what they do.
Hammering.
This whole exchange is just the equivalent of the newsreaders having a chat amongst each other as the cameras.
Oh yes, of course. We're live, aren't we?
BBC News.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We're here with 1UpD and Kralich. I think I've pronounced your name correctly.
Is a hard C.
Kralik.
Yeah, there you go.
Kralik, I see.
Yeah, hard C.
Hard C. All right.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yes, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool to be here before Christmas. We're going to sort of talk about what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I've got some gameplay to show off again. We're going to show off some squad control and stuff tonight. Probably show off the Zen Grenade as well, have a bit of fun with that. If we just sort of, I'd like to introduce obviously 1UpD, he's doing our coding and our programming, and we've got Kralik, who's doing some animation and modeling for us. If you guys just want to, I don't know, talk about what you do, what you've been up to.
You first one up, you're alphabetically first.
Okay. Well, I'm a programmer. I've been helping out with the code improvements for Entropy 02. Our first priority was improving squad control for the Combine soldiers so that they can be sort of your backup now that Bad Cop is an elite now.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. It's good fun to play with.
So do you want me to say any more?
Oh yeah, it's up to you. No.
Time box. Okay.
It's cool.
So
Just go for
I
it.
kind of got started with Half-Life 2 modding. Years ago, I wanted to make a mod, but nothing really came of it. So I sort of came back into modding a few years ago with the Run, Think, Shoot, Live mapping challenges. So I've been doing mapping, but I've been kind of frustrated with Hammer, and I feel like I'm able to accomplish more as a programmer, making quality of life improvements to Half-Life 2 for different mods rather than trying to make my own levels. And I really like what Entropy 02 is trying to accomplish, so I wanted to help out and do some of the code improvements for that.
We are very happy to have you on.
Absolutely.
Happy to be here.
It's just amazing what kind of difference changing, or like, well, I don't know. I thought we had freedom when we got Trivy for voice acting, but now that we've got program freedom as well, it's like, holy crap, we can do anything we want, essentially.
Ended
So
friendship
much
with
freedom.
Trivy. One up is my new friend.
Oh man. So Kralik, you want to tell us about you, what you've been up to?
Well, I started modding about 4 years ago in Gary's mod, which is one way to start, and that's kind of where I learned more or less by trial and error and by teaching myself how to do all the stuff I do in Blender and with texturing and all that. Doing like lots and add-ons. I've got like 433 or something, so quite a few. Um, and about a year and a half ago, I started branching out and trying to do actual modding instead of modding Gary's mod. So that involved me joining some mod teams like Inhuman, starting my own mod team, which I'm taking a break from at the moment because of work and university and all that. So I need to kind of just figure that out in my schedule. But also some tiny little side projects, one of which I finished recently actually. So I hope I'll be releasing that soon. But I'm mostly a texturing and modeling monkey because I can do a fair amount of stuff, a fair amount from scratch, but mostly modifying existing assets. Luckily, I know a fair amount of places to get assets from, Valve Games and other places where it's completely fine modifying those on a user basis. So it's kind of what I've been doing. And besides, I'm kind of just a jack of all trades, so I kind of will just be helping and trying to pick up wherever possible, but mostly in modeling and texturing.
It's cool. And you've been doing a lot of work for us already, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess we'll be sharing some of that later in the update.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to show off some of your work tonight, definitely, with the sort of Zen Grenade, the new model for that. We'll play around with that. And obviously we've got the pistol retexture, which is still a work in progress. Obviously, there's things going on with that. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So tonight, obviously we've got 1UpD, Kralik, and we've got CW3D and Trivy.
Hello.
Greetings.
So we're just going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing over the last sort of 2 weeks. I think for us, it's been really busy. I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been working my nuts off on the mapping and everything. It's just been crazy sort of trying to get the AI tuned properly and all the sequences for this second map of Chapter 2. I've been playing.
Oh, that's
with
funny. I've been
lighting
doing
and
fuck all.
Well, it is Christmas, I guess. See, we have a very relaxed attitude here.
Just get it done whenever you can.
Yeah.
Rush.
What about, I don't know, 3 months from now, maybe? Oh, I don't know.
A couple of lines in 3 months, it's all right.
Yeah. It's been a busy couple of weeks, I think. Had to obviously postpone the last stream. Was that last week or was that yesterday, wasn't it? Oh, it just shows how busy I've been.
Yeah, it was just yesterday, postponed to today.
Yeah, I've just been super busy, you know. So basically, I'm going to show off some stuff. Let me turn on the images on the stream. So the stream will start going through some slideshow of the new map. So we've built the second map now completely from start to finish. There's some technicalities that we have to refine at the end of the map that are sort of very it kind of goes in depth. It's going to be some of the most complicated stuff I think we've done. I think you guys would agree, in terms of choreographing a scene, with sort of communication between Bad Cop and another character, and along with that we've got some view model animations to perfect. So it's kind of it's really it's an interesting time, especially for me personally. I've never really worked with a mod team like this before, so it's just interesting to see how we're going to tackle the problem, how we're going to get over that hurdle. The other thing that we've been doing, so whilst I've been doing that, Kralik's been really, really busy sorting out a new model for the Zen Relay Grenade and sort of bringing it in line with the lore for Entropy 02. The kind of story behind it is that the the sort of base that we're in under the I've just realised that I may be spoiling things here. So
Yeah, I think we should.
yeah, it's a really good point because there's a massive spoiler on the grenade. And I really wanted to show it off. This is just how in depth we just get so wrapped up with making it and sort of testing it, and when it comes to actually talking about it, I don't know how much we want to actually show off. So yeah, so things are moving. The pistol has been reskinned. We're planning on sort of modifying the original pistol model. That was something you were going to do, wasn't it, Kralik?
Yes, I'm. Yeah, that's something I'm looking at right now. Kind of making it more like a prototype combine weapon. I think what someone in here described it as was like a pulse pistol. So like a USP match modified to shoot pulse rounds instead of just looking like a USP match. So there was a reskin involved as a basis, but then now I'm going to model a bunch of combine shenanigans on top of it, maybe some glowy bits, and then just see how that turns out. Hopefully, come up with something that looks a bit like a pulse rifle, but a little bit different.
I'm really liking the reskin, even just as it is right now. Really cool looking. Maybe we can show that, just like what it looks like, just with a different skin on.
I can show that, definitely. I'll show that off when we do the gameplay.
And then with the additional stuff you're going to add to it, it's going to look sick.
Yeah, I think we kind of wanted it to sort of. I was trying to think what would when the Combine came to Earth and they made the AR2, they were probably looking at rifles that the humans had, that we had, and thinking, okay, how can we make it better? So the pistol is kind of like a halfway house. It's another prototype weapon, a bit like the one that you get in Entropy 01, in that it's not finished. It's just something that they picked up the USP. They sort of went, okay, this is standard issues for civil protection. Let's see what we can do with it. So they're going to, I guess they'll chuck some bits on it and yeah, see where it goes. It's pretty cool. The other thing that we've been looking at is squad control, because 1UpD's done some great work basically moving the rebel control, command control squad, all that kind of code into the Combine sort of side. So we can, in the same way in Half-Life 2 at the minute, we can point soldiers, we can tell them where to go, we can get them to follow us again. It shows up on the HUD how many soldiers you've got on your squad, which is really nifty. And I think we've just been looking at refining that, haven't we?
Yeah, going
Absolutely.
Star Wars Republic Commando up in this bitch.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Go on, I'll let one up have a chat about that, because I think you were going to say something.
Sure. Just in general about squad control, I think it's interesting to see that the Combine soldiers are still Combine soldiers. They still use the same schedules, so they still will run to cover. They still follow the same behaviors. They still throw grenades. But now they have the citizens' command point behavior, so you can use the C key or however you bind your command key to send them to a location. And it can be really useful to sort of draw fire, add some tactics. I don't think that Bad Cop really feels bad when his soldiers might die in the line of fire the way that Gordon Freeman might. So it's a little bit of a different feeling to the citizens in the uprising, where you kind of like wanted to preserve them. I don't know, I did. Maybe other players didn't. But in this case, they're more of a resource, and I think that we kind of want to bring that feeling along with them.
Yeah, definitely. And just building on what you were saying there, I found myself using them in sort of like a disposable manner. Like I've been throwing them down corridors to draw fire and then emptying the corridors, whilst the rebels are sort of distracted.
Yeah, they tend to get mown down, especially in the map that you've currently been working on. They tend to get mowed down pretty quickly, I find, because there's so many rebels coming in from so many angles.
Yes.
It's difficult to keep them alive unless you're quick.
You have to be. I know exactly. I've had a few successful runs to the end of the map with them, and then I've had runs where they basically just get completely destroyed. And I guess it's my fault because I'm sort of sending them in prematurely. I'm not being tactical enough about where I'm sending them. But I think it's really cool. It's really cool to have a squad of soldiers that you can command. I didn't think. Well, I always thought it would be a cool idea, but I didn't actually, think in terms of the immersion aspect of playing as a member of the Combine, to have a group of soldiers is really, really neat.
And we haven't even like added like half the stuff we want
Yeah.
to with to it. Like we're gonna be having hand signals, like when you order them to go somewhere, Bad Cop's gonna order them around and shit. And we're looking at having them breach rooms properly for like specific doors and stuff.
I think that stuff is just going to make it so much better, especially with like it's something as simple as just having a hand signal with the view model and sort of Bad Cop saying, go over there. It's just going to be awesome.
So another improvement that we're making that isn't quite ready to show you yet is actually have a visible marker where you point them. So Half-Life 2 kind of obfuscates like where are your citizens actually going if you use that command. But we're going to highlight, they're going here, and that'll help sort of for certain context-driven situations that Trivia was alluding to, where the soldiers will be able to take positions around a door and breach the door maybe, or something specific like that. Basically, we want them to be smart enough to interact with the environment even when you're controlling them around.
Delicious.
Yeah. I think we just, that will put a nice fresh spin on the whole command squad control thing from Half-Life 2. Yeah, it's going to be super cool if we can get them to breach rooms and stuff. That'll be player's choice kind of stuff. You can either do it if you want to. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. It's just having the ability to make those decisions that, change the player's experience, but they don't necessarily change the flow of the gameplay. It's awesome. Really, really powerful tool to sort of build immersion for the player.
Love that word. Immersion. Immersion, immersion, immersion.
I love it.
Cram it
Immersion.
full of immersion.
I can't say it enough. That's what we want. Yeah, so I think, that's sort of what we've been doing. Obviously, on top of, there's been I know 1UP, you've been doing all sorts of various other bits in terms of code. Or we've got things like a sort of prototype ball squid and stuff in the code now, bits and pieces like that. The FGD is updated with, so we can basically specify if soldiers are going to be commandable or not, which is really useful. There's all sorts, lots and lots of stuff is happening.
Sure. And also a few very small tweaks just to make the player feel a little bit more like the character that you were going for. Like the cap on armor has been increased. I know that was one thing that you wanted.
Oh yes.
As well as potentially firing while zooming, since you have the augmented helmet. That's something you might decide later on that you want to take that out again, but that's something that we have in the code now that you have access to. There's a console variable to turn it on or off.
Oh, I need to look at that. That's fantastic. Cheers for that. That's wicked.
Shall we talk about the health system that you want to implement as well?
Definitely, I think we should.
Yeah.
I'll let Trivy take the floor, or 1UP. Go on, go for it.
No, actually, you can go ahead, Trivy.
Okay, so the idea is that instead of having how it works normally in Half-Life 2, where you run over a health pack and it just goes, and then you get, immediate health, we're thinking of implementing something that I'd like to call the stim boost system. So you hear about the Combine soldiers, they talk about, apply 50 cc's of stim boost and stuff like that. And we thought to add to the experience of being this Combine soldier that we'd focus a health system around that. So my idea is now when you pick up health kits, instead of just giving you health, they now give you a certain set of stim boost injectors that you can then apply to yourself at any time. So you literally just press a button and it'll give you, 50 HP, and it'll use up one of your stim boost slots. The cool thing about this is, I'm sure we all know in Half-Life 2, when we have like 100 HP and there's like a freaking stack of health and you're like, well, I can't use any of this, so you just have to leave it there. Now, once you find some health, it doesn't matter what amount of health you're on, you will pick up stim boost packs. So you can be on 100 HP and pick up like 5 stim boost packs to use in the next fight. You don't have to worry about, running out of health, really. And it'll be easier to hopefully balance the game around that as well, because you can always count on how many stim boosts a player will have.
When I was first playtesting one of the builds of Entropy 02, I felt very frustrated when I lost too much health, and I felt like I was dying too quickly, so I couldn't find the health again. So I think giving the player more tactical control over when you apply your health will help. You should never be so low that you can't recover, and now you can ration your stim packs to avoid those situations if you're tactical about it. I did have a thought just while you were talking. I don't want to derail anything, but are you sure that the Combine aren't using a euphemism when they say apply 50 cc's of stim boost? Because I know like all their double speak is like they use medical terms to describe their military operations.
Off the top of my head, I can't quite think, but from what I remember, like listening to them in their like radio chatter and stuff, I'm not sure if it could really be interpreted any other way, that they're actually applying some sort of stimulant to themselves. Because I'm sure I've heard them say it when they get injured sometimes as well, after a firefight. So it sort of makes sense that it's to do with some sort of supplement that they're taking to. It could just be a performance booster. It's just fucking steroids or something. But for the case of Entropy Zero, I think it'd be cool to sort of take that term and use it as like in a health sense.
Yeah, I totally agree, and the mechanic is great either way. I just had that thought because it's like, wait, when they don't say form up, they say coagulate, and stuff like that. But it's just a random thought.
It's interesting. I quite like thinking about that, about how they sort of use those terms and stuff. But I'm sure I've heard something similar trivia. I'm sure I've heard them say, like they're administering something. I do get that impression.
Which is just stand out.
In the first Entropy Zero, doesn't he talk about stims at one point?
Oh yes, yeah, at the very beginning. That's from the old beta lines. He talks about needing a stim pack or something.
So yeah, I reckon they are actually a thing. It's not just a euphemism for some weird tactic, like ripcord to me is fall back. We're getting fucked up.
Yeah.
Outbreak,
yeah, man. I used to have all the terminology like memorized. It's such a great terminology system. It's very unique. I love it.
It's brilliant. I love it. It's so, like you say, it's unique. I love it.
It's kind of menacing too, since a lot of the time players don't know what they're talking about. So it's like, oh, what are they talking about? I gotta figure out.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more of that chatter in Entropy Zero as well. As I said, the more immersion, the more we get by feeling like a Combine soldier, the better.
Definitely, because that's what we're building. That kind of experience. So, I guess I could show off this new bit of Chapter 2 if you guys want to see it.
Oh yes.
What I'll do is I'll just turn off my keybind for a minute whilst we do it. I'll just run through it and then we can talk about it at the end. I'm going to stop short of something that we don't want to show off yet. So
spoilery secret, spoileries.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Okay, let's do this.
And it's not finished yet either, so.
Yeah, one thing I did notice when transitioning from map 1 to map 2, the color correction is incredibly different.
Yes.
So it's quite jarring. So
all I need to do is do a chroma fade between the two. I just haven't done it yet. That'll make it less, because it changes the entire thing. It's completely different. I did try using the external color correction inside, but it's a little bit heavy, so I've had to tweak it. So we'll have to chroma fade it. Right, I shall fire it up.
Yeah, let's take a look. Kralik, you need to put yourself on push to talk, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Ooh.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, we can show that off as well after the gameplay reveal.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes.
I think you might not have audio. Oh wait, no, I'm muted. Never mind.
put himself on God mode and make it not unless he's got God mode on.
So I'm just going to stop it there for a minute. As you can see, it's pretty buggy at the minute. There's a lot of things that we need to iron out in terms of sort of pathing and NPC AI. Sometimes the Combine soldiers aren't as cooperative as I'd like them to be. Sometimes they get stuck.
Yeah, when they get stuck, they don't seem to try and correct themselves. I'm wondering if there's a way to have it where if they're ordered to a place and then the code like checks, am I there, am I there, am I there? And if they're like not there after a certain amount of time, it like gives them a boot up the arse to like, you know, keep moving.
Yeah, it's a bit like once again, we had this discussion ages ago. You can make them hurry up if you fire your weapons. They sort of just pick it up.
Yeah.
It's like the
Does that still happen?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So
Is that something to do with PVS though?
Yeah, I
Did you,
thought
like,
so.
Check the thing.
Do you know what? I've just thought of something. These soldiers have come from the first map, and I don't know if I've turned off their PVS. You know, think outside PVS. So it might be worth checking that.
But they should be in the player's visibility.
Well, that's right, because they're part of the squad essentially.
Well, like it would make sense if that you had issues with them not following when they were like occluded by the environment, because then they might be outside of the player's visible. I don't know what PVS stands for, to be honest, but if they're not visible, basically they won't run through their think cycle and they might not update their movement. But I think they were like within your visual range when that was happening, so it might be something else going on that I need to take a look at.
Yeah, there's a few sort of inconsistencies with this map. It's fun to play. I like the music. It's great. Spencer's done a cool job there. It feels fun to blast through, but it's a bit awkward when you get things like NPCs getting stuck on doors. Combine soldiers, I don't know if you could tell, but I was sort of issuing commands to them quite a lot, and sometimes they just weren't doing what I was telling them to do.
Yeah.
It could be a node problem, maybe. Maybe I just need to look at the pathing in the map.
That's partly why I suggested the whole scripted sequence system for them moving through, breaching into rooms and maybe moving through some tight corridors, because the command system really fucking hates tight corridors. So I'm thinking like for like small tight stuff like that, you'd have a scripted sequence where if you order them in there, they would just play, get into a formation and move through it like an assault and just keep going until they get to the end of it, instead of having to rely on the player putting paths in there for them, which makes it kind of janky.
I mean, I'm just looking at the navigational node at the minute, and I'll just run them through without any enemies, and we'll just see how they fare and see where they get stuck and stuff.
Sure. I had one idea that might help with some of the navigational awkwardness. I think maybe one soldier in the squad should move directly to the point that you point them to, and the rest should have a looser follow pattern.
That would be cool.
So that they don't, because initially we had them in a follow pattern where they all tried to go right on the point, and they would actually fight over it. They'd like try to push each other off of the
You're in my way,
spot.
sir.
Yeah. So if we could
Excuse
get them
me, excuse
to
me.
like prioritize, like this guy is the quote squad leader. He's not actually leading the squad, but he's like the person who goes to the point.
Point man,
The
yeah.
others follow behind. We could even maybe, if that doesn't work very well, try like only that guy follows command points and the other soldiers follow him. But I don't know which would be better. It would be something that we might need some testing
We'd have to
for.
experiment, wouldn't we?
Indeed.
Yeah. They seem to be behaving alright at the minute. They're doing what I tell them to do.
It only seems to be a
Bit crazy.
problem like in a fight when you need them to go somewhere specific.
So I essentially told them to go down this corridor. Let's have a look and see what they do.
Yeah, they do still seem to sort of get caught on each other because you can tell
Yeah,
one guy reaches his point and then the other guy has got the point in front of him, just like
Sort of bumping into each other. It's interesting to see.
That's sauce for you.
I
Yeah,
wonder if it would work to like daisy chain them. So one guy follows the point, the next guy follows the first guy, and then the next one follows the.
Oh, that would probably be really good because then they'd actually be following in some sort of formation.
You could give that a try.
The problem is then if their formation is backwards of the order they're actually in when you first tell them to follow, they're gonna like try to bump into each other a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're right in a tight corner when that happens. It's kind of hard to get around because I think it's just kind of a limitation of the node system in a way.
We'll figure something out.
Just having a look here, see, so these guys are stuck on the stairs at the minute, and I'm stood here.
Oh yeah, they hate stairs.
So, I might be able to shed a little bit of light on that. I mentioned I gave them a looser follow pattern. They're following a little bit too loosely, so I think they.
Oh, I
think that they're
see,
close
right.
enough.
So they're
to
sort
where
of within a
you wanted-
radius of the player. Is that the kind of thing that you...
Yeah. So like they're close enough to the point where they're like, we're following, we're close enough. And I did on the most recent commit that I pushed, I did change that follow pattern to be a little bit tighter. I switched it from wide to medium. I'm just using the presets that Valve set up. So I think it works a little bit better now, but it would be good to have more of a smarter solution to that, like having only one guy go direct and then the rest follow behind or something.
Now, I did want to raise an idea, and I'll just ask you now whilst I'm doing this. So in combine inputs and outputs in Hammer, we can ask them to throw a grenade at a specific target. Would it be possible to push a button to get one of your squad mates to throw a grenade at something?
Yeah, I mean, let's think about that.
Let's just
I
make a
haven't
radio
really-
menu. Fuck it.
Oh my god.
Hold down C, opens up a little menu. There you go, squad control menu.
I don't really like that because I don't think that this is supposed to be too it's not the main mechanic. Like these squad mates aren't your buddies.
That is
they're,
true.
They're fodder. So I think if you make the player overly reliant on the soldiers, then it will become Imperial Commando or something, which would be an awesome game. But I don't know if that's the game
It's
that
not
you're
Entropy Zero,
trying to
no.
make.
No, it's a
Um,
valid point, absolutely. And I can imagine it being abused to hell, actually, thinking about it.
I really like the throw grenade button, although I could see it becoming almost like at that point you always have unlimited grenades almost. Well, the soldiers have limited grenades, but there's no visual feedback on how many grenades your soldiers
No, that's
have.
right.
Well,
so
in SWAT 4 you don't have any visual feedback. They just go, I'm out of flashbangs, sir. I'm out of stingers, sir. So I don't know.
oh yeah, actually, if they could tell you when they're out of grenades, that'd be kind of cool. Like adding
Oh, that
a
would
boost
be cool.
limit to that. So yeah, that's doable. I don't really know anything about how to add a new like a new command. I haven't worked with that at all before, but it seems like it would be doable because it's not that much different from how the squad control works. So yeah, I would put that within the realm of possibility, but it would take a little bit longer to research and figure out how it would work versus the features we've already talked about.
That's cool. Well, we can have a look at that then at some point. So, I was going to show off the Zen grenade. I don't know if I should, though, because it might spoil things. What do you guys
It's a
think?
big spoiler.
Yeah, it is a pretty
How
big
quickly can you blur it out in Photoshop?
How many frames per second is this stream?
They're going to see it if I do it. Maybe we should wait for now. Just, I don't want to...
I mean, Maybe we can get like a temporary stream-friendly version of it for next time, so you can show it off without it having a big spoiler on it.
That's a cool idea. It's a shame because I love the work that Kralik has done.
Absolutely.
I want to show it off, but I don't want to spoil this just yet. So we'll wait on that at the minute.
Maybe by the time we show it off, we'll have more of the bugs worked out with it too. So that could be like the silver lining.
Yes, that's a cool idea, definitely. Because it's very buggy at the minute. I mean, it's always been that way. It's always been as buggy as it was in episode 1. Because that's essentially what it is. It's just like a reskinned hot wire thingy-majiggy.
Yeah, I mean, and plus I discovered that bug quite early on where some props just stop blinking in and out of existence.
Yeah, that is
That's just
completely
like,
bizarre.
What's going on
I
with
mean, that's so strange. I've only seen that once, and it freaked me out a bit. I was like, well, okay, what the hell's happening to the client? Oh my
that?
god.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Is it just like a LOD thing? Is it just like messing up with the LOD, or is it literally... Can it not decide if those props exist or not? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so that's Chapter 2, Part 2. Without the spoilers, there's some... I mean, I can tease down this corridor.
Oh, yes, another thing I want to discuss that I think you've already said that you liked is... originally we wanted to have a hunter join your squad, but it was
Oh,
too
yes!
janky.
Oh my god, it was funny as hell, but it was like completely unplayable.
But I think it's really good foreshadowing having that hunter hanging around the place. So I think to make it'd be cool if, I mean, you've already made like lots of doors and stuff that you can't open. It'd be cool just to have some like off areas, like doors with windows in them, so you can see into like further parts of the facility that you can't access, and have like a hunter like busts in through the wall and shoots down a bunch of people, and Combine soldiers run in after it, and then they run off to another part of the facility.
That's perfect.
Shit like that.
That's a really good idea. And in fact, I think around here somewhere, bear with me. So I got a lot of these, which are just windows with blinds on them. So we could use things behind them, you know. We could do something like that behind here, and I could squeeze it in other places as well to sort of show that we're not the only ones here.
Yeah, because it's a massive Combine operation. You know, you saw all those dropships flying overhead.
Absolutely.
So there's probably going to be multiple teams in multiple areas of this facility wrecking shit up. So that'd be really cool to see.
They're going to be cleaning this whole building. So.
That'll be good too when you also implement those new Overwatch dispatch lines for that for the communications center.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Yeah, there is some more stuff I want to discuss, but that's spoiler talk. So hopefully we'll leave enough time after we finish the stream to have another discussion.
Yeah, I think that would be good. So obviously it's all very alpha still. What's going on? There's so much to fix. I think I need to sort of refine the combat secrets in that map, but I like where it's going. I like where we're heading with that.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, we all know where we're going after that, but we can't talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. So
how will? Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
How will you show progress on the section after this map in future streams?
I think we're going to have to disclose at some point. We're going to have to tell people something. Because I know we've been sort of keeping it under wraps for a while. It's quite ambitious, I think, what we're trying to do. But we're going to have to mention it at some point. So I guess we'll have to build it, and when it looks nice enough to show off, then we can sort of go public with it.
I mean, I'm thinking, you know, because obviously the next area is going to be pretty shocking for the player. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm thinking you can't avoid spoilers by sort of showing off what the map looks like and what the atmosphere is like without actually showing the gameplay of that area or the reveal of that area. You can still get a good feel for what it sounds like and what it feels like just by standing around in the area without anything going on and be like, this is what we've been working on.
That's true.
Maybe certain textures, props, and decals can be sort of censored to to lessen the impact. I don't know. It depends on how the map actually looks, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet, of course, because it hasn't been made.
Yeah, I think as a rule of thumb, I like to like not disclose too much in terms of the story. I don't really care if it's like, you know, this is the new weapons and stuff like that. I don't mind showing that off.
It's
The
all
problem,
about that plot.
it's exactly. I think the problem is with the next couple of maps, the maps themselves are sort of screaming at you about like this massive thing in the plot. So it's going to be really difficult to sort of show our progress with it.
Some people just can't help but spoil things for themselves. They'll watch the stream and be like, and then they're thinking them to themselves, oh, I don't mind if I'm spoiled. But then it's actually spoiled for them, and they think, ah, shit, I would have preferred if I didn't have that spoiled now. I don't want people to be in that position.
No, especially with the kind of heavy hitting narrative lore stuff that we're
very
trying to
cool.
do. I think it's cool too. I think it's a really cool thing that we're doing. So pulling it off is we're going to have to be a bit cloak and dagger about that bit. The cool thing is the chapter after that, chapter 3, we can be completely open about that because that's going to be the APC run through the Arctic wasteland. So that's going to be super fun to build, super fun to show off. So we may have to just sort of go quiet with this next little bit.
Ooh, do you want to show off Kralek's work in progress for the pulse pistol? Yes, he's posted some
I
screenshots
do
in
indeed.
the
Hang
dev
on.
channel.
Let me. I'll have to dump them into my stream software. Hang on. Take me like 2 minutes.
But yeah, I'm not too sure about the stock either. It looks a bit weird on a pistol.
How would that stock be used?
That's the thing, because the animation is he's holding it just like a normal pistol. So I think having the stock there's
I'm just kind of conceptualizing.
fucking around.
Experimenting.
That's the professional term, yes. Just down now, fuck around in the old model program.
Are we all right with the muzzle bits, though?
Yeah, I was going to say I
Yes.
quite like the looks of it. I like it. I
The
think.
thing is,
go on.
it's kind of difficult to build around because the slide moves back. So all the bits I add on can't really be on the slide unless they're only on the slide. And so that
Yeah.
means I basically either got to build a bit onto the body or onto the slide, which means it's kind of a little bit more difficult. I mean, technically, I can make it work with some weird rigging things, but I don't want to get into that because there's equal chances it will look terrible if I have to like rig it across the slide moving and stuff. So I'm kind of just trying to think how I can add bits.
I definitely think you can do something with the magwell, making it like chunkier and stuff. Because remember, he's not even putting mags in there; it's like generating its own energy.
I was thinking of using a modified version of the actual pulse rifle mag. Because if it's using pulse rounds, it stands to reason to be using a similar magazine. But
That's cool.
having a big crescent-shaped thing around the grips sort of seems a bit weird. So I'm trying to think how to approach that. Like maybe like a smaller version that isn't quite so large and overbearing, or maybe like one that like I don't know, one that like maybe goes out the back a little bit, so it looks a bit like an extended mag almost, quote unquote.
The only thing is, we don't even like with the AR2. We actually have to replace the mag and reload it. With the pulse pistol, it like regenerates its ammo. So even though the ammo are pulse rounds, the way that it's handling the ammo is entirely different because it's
I'd put some glowy blue bits on it to signify it's more technologically advanced. Because glowy blue bits mean that, and so that's how I'd kind of try to get around that by saying it is still a magazine, but there's glowy blue bits. It's manufacturing ammo as it goes along or something.
So just imagine this big prototype battery in there that's like fucking some crazy ass combine tech that's like, what's the word, like fusion energy almost.
I'm tempted to see I'm tempted to just put the thumper on the underneath of the mag. See what
I was
that
just
looks
about to say something like that. Like
because
the
something like the thumper modified could kind of. I mean, the thumper, if it was smaller,
cool
does
idea.
look like a battery. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
There's a prop. The combine have a generator prop.
Yes, I was thinking of
I
that.
was thinking like just stick that in the in the magazine almost. It wouldn't quite fit. But...
Would you be able to dig up the model name?
Yeah. I'll look at it in Hammer. I think. I can probably find
cool. Because then I can just decompile that now and start.
I know exactly the prop. That would be very fitting, I think. You can see an example of it in Chapter 1 of Entropy 02. I'll find a picture. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look at that. It's very nice.
It's
Yeah,
very nice.
I was also gonna like modify the site a bit, but I'm not sure how I'd go about doing that. I was thinking of almost cutting off the site of the normal USP and essentially modifying the AR2 site and putting that on instead. But like, I mean, first of all, the model I'm cutting a lot of bits off of is purely because it's reconstructed, is the world model, which I intend to like higher the resolution a little bit so it doesn't look obviously different from the view model. But the world model doesn't have a site, and I'm trying not to use more than 3 materials for this thing, so that it's not going to start bloating up the file size texture-wise.
I mean, you could use the model bits from the emplacement gun that the Combine used,
I
like
could
mounted
actually.
turret.
I don't know why I didn't
That's a
think
cool
of that.
idea.
The emplacement gun probably has a fair amount of useful parts I could cannibalize and fool around with.
You've also
yeah,
got
I was
the
just.
you know that ion beam rifle that they use in episode 2.
Oh, the thing in episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, that thing.
that's a
Yeah.
massive bloody thing. Yeah, that's it. One up.
Oh, those. Yeah. What I can't see on this tiny little screen. Let me try. Combine generator 01. Cheers. Right, I'll start having a look at. And I'll also dig up the thumper and see what that looks like.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Shall we go on to Q&A then?
Yeah, I think we should do Q&A if that's cool, because I'm going to have to head off shortly.
Oh, geez. Okay, folks, it's that time of the year again. Get your questions in the chat, and now fucking trying to not butcher your name whilst I read them out. So, yeah, there you go. Have that. Kenny Alexander asks, besides Bad Cop, are there any other voice talents in this mod?
I think we're looking at somebody who is here with us at the minute. I think CW3D is going to be helping us out with something.
Yes.
I can't.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
CW3D is way more talented than I, so yeah.
I try, but
Okay. What else? Gio Picasso asks, how's animation importing to Entropy 01 going? I think that's more just in the case of like, how's the remaster of EZ1 going? Basically, we haven't really started it.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be. I think OneUp's making changes to code that we can bring across, and definitely feature stuff in our Entropy 02 code. We'll sort of, I guess, backdate it, but we haven't done anything with Entropy 01 for a while.
We're just focusing on getting this one sorted out first, and then everything else is secondary, really.
I've got to kind of remember to make all the features I add toggleable or configurable, so that you can easily turn them off again if they need to. Things like the maximum suit energy, I added a convar for that, so that if you're using the same code but bringing it back, you could drop it back down to 100.
That's a cool idea.
So yeah,
Just makes that
backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
So Victor asks, I want to ask, why is Bad Cop so edgy?
Because he's a psychopathic asshole, I guess. There's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about in terms of Bad Cop's actual past. I think even for us, it's the lines are quite blurred.
There's no point.
Yeah, it's like the whole giving him a name thing. I don't really see the point because it's not. Yes, he talks and everything, and he's got this personality. We've established the character. You guys know him as Bad Cop, but he's not. I get a lot of questions. People say, "Is he Adrian Shepherd?" And I just say no and roll my eyes. He's not Adrian Shepherd. That's not the kind of thing that we're trying to do. He's edgy, I think, because he is a psychopathic murderer and he enjoys doing it. That's why he's edgy. I don't have like an in-depth sort of explanation for it. I think it just
the child by his grandfather and
exactly.
raised by bats.
All we know is prior to the events of Half-Life 2 or whatever, he was criminally insane, and he was held probably somewhere because he was insane, a very violent individual, and he sort of holds that against people, that's what kind of fostered his hate for other humans, and I think he's seen the Combine and he's thought, I can get behind that because they're all about not being human. But
ascending humanity.
Exactly, but I think that's as deep as it goes with Bad Cop. He sort of just fits. I think we were building on the original voice lines from the Beta Cop, the stuff that we did with Entropy 01. We have to carry it across. We've just got a bit more freedom now to sort of flex and give him some new lines and stuff.
I really enjoyed the introduction to Entropy 02 because I think it explains who he is as a person without actually giving the details of his backstory. You don't know exactly where he came from, but he is an established character, and you kind of get an idea of all those things you talked about.
Yeah.
He's not just a floating gun anymore. He's actually a guy.
Exactly, and he's got a place in the universe. And the thing is, I think with everything Half-Life, you shouldn't overlook everything. You don't want to look too much into it because you're just going to find these kind of walls. It's not supposed to be explicitly stated everywhere. We haven't written a past for Bad Cop. I don't even have a name for him, so we don't look too much into it.
It could be your name.
It just fits. Yes.
It could even be you.
It could be you. But it's sort of, I think his character just fits with the kind of gameplay that we're building. If we had sort of like a sort of, I don't know, he has to be an asshole. The kind of combat sequences we're building around rebels and stuff like that, if you had anybody else, if he was like pragmatic about it, I don't think it would feel right. If he was like, oh, that's just another rebel that I've killed. It's not fun. He needs to have fun with it because, the players need to have fun blowing away rebels and destroying buildings and stuff.
It adds a bit of comic relief as well, I think, because otherwise it'd be a very dreary, very serious game. And having Bad Cop's personality in there, kind of contrasting with all this bloodshed, is a nice, it's kind of black humor, isn't it?
It is. That's really interesting that you said that, Trivia. You've reminded me of I wrote an article for Mod Database. This is like 2 years ago now, talking about Bad Cop's edginess. This is on Entropy 01's Mod Database page. If anyone wants to go and look at it, it's massive. It talks about my decisions behind making him talk, and one of my reasons was the game was so depressing without him, because you were just basically running around City 10 just killing people, and it was really sort of depressing after a while. So it adds that sort of comic relief, that sort of dark comic edge, which kind of ties in nicely with what we're trying to do with the next bit as well, because obviously that's all about sort of dark humor.
Anyway, I'll move on to the next question because I know you're short on time. I don't know people, because this is going to be the last stream before next year, so we'll try and make it get a lot of questions done. So Dr. Bedlam asks, will Bad Cop take off his helmet and comment on his augmented body, or perhaps freak out of only having one eye?
I don't know. I think it'd be funny if we could have him freak out about having one eye.
I don't think the elites actually have one eye, though.
No.
I think that's just I think they have both of their eyes, but it's just connected into this like a camera almost, I suppose you could say, but not really a camera.
I think we could do something with the whole cycloptic thing in this next section, because there's kind of like a moment between Bad Cop and another character, a kind of an understanding, shall I call it, a similarity between the two, which is, has a relationship with that whole cycloptic helmet that he's got on, as kind of like, hey, you're like me kind of thing going on, which fosters that kind of friendship. I don't know whether I should call it friendship or not. It's more of a kind of like a forced relationship. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna have him take off his helmet. I can't think of a sequence yet. You never know, though. This is cool stuff that we could do. I think it would be funny to have him comment on the fact that he's got one big porthole in front of his helmet. He'd probably say something really pessimistic about it.
Okay, let's see, what else is there? Oh, I'm gonna scroll down too far. Shit, I've lost where I am. I can't What? Oh wait, no. I think somebody was suggesting something for the pulse pistol, maybe. So we do the shotgun slide. I can't really interpret that. Firanor asks, "Easy 2 episode 1 when?"
Oh God, like when we finish this one, I guess we've got to get this one finished first.
This is Easy 2 episode 1. Technically.
Yeah, I guess it could be. Yes.
I don't know. What the fuck? Who knows? What else is there? Victor asks, since we're adding the bull squid, are we going to include the hound eye at all?
I think at the minute our plans are just to include the bull squid.
Yeah, I don't want to put too much in.
No, it's more of trying to keep it similar to Half-Life 2. Bull squid's really nice because it's in the beta code. They've even got like the models with the basic animations. It's just there. If we wanted to incorporate it, it wouldn't be too much effort to do so. So it's a nice thing. And you've been playing with bull squids longer than we have, haven't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I have the code from the Half-Life 2 beta bull squid that's included in the Half-Life 2 code, so I've just re-added that and then replaced its attack with the antlion worker attack, which we can use. And it's just sort of a template. I don't know where it's going to go or how it's going to be used yet. So it'll probably change a lot, but that is something that we have, in our back pocket, wherever it fits in.
Yeah, I think in terms of bull squids, I reckon that'll be sort of like a maybe chapter 3 or 4 kind of thing. I was planning on having some sort of glacial caves and stuff that we would sort of fight through and we would encounter the bull squids. Maybe they sort of made their way into the second part of the facility that we're at, potentially. Yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really. Just a bit of a hark back to Half-Life 1. We could make them fluffy, to fit in with the Arctic theme. I think that would be really cool to pull off.
That would be cool. Although I've never seen Source really handle fur very well at all.
No, I don't know how you would do it. I guess you would overlay planes and just have transparency, but then that could be a UV nightmare. I don't know.
We'll see.
Could do something like what Alex's hair has. It's not like doesn't actually like flow through the wind, but it does have transparency. So we could do something like that, I guess, with the bull squid.
Yeah. Just we need to play around with it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Benito69 asks, how many weapons do we have at the moment? And that can be anything from like conceptual to finished.
Okay, let me count in my head. You've got the pistol, you've got the 357, which is going to be cool. SMG1, MP5K, AR2, shotgun, grenades, Zen grenade. I think that's it. Am I missing anything, guys?
I don't think so.
Potentially, there might have been an incendiary weapon.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh shit!
We can't forget about that. We have to include that. Absolutely.
Oh yes.
We have the code from the flare gun from Half-Life 2 that was removed. That's back in, but it might have kind of a unique twist on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
gonna be a little
okay.
bit different.
I had to put 2 and 2 together to figure out what you were talking about, and then it just suddenly hit me. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So the code is done. Assets are not for that.
That's why we're being vague about that. Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's spoiler territory on one of these. Two of these.
I almost went, and then almost said the name of it, and then I went, oh, wait a minute.
I just
Oh,
start
that would have been
screaming down the mic. It's
hilarious.
fine. I just go, ah.
It's just fake news. It's fine. It's fake news.
It's fake news. It's a big part of a globalist agenda.
As for the MP5K, I did add Valve's SMG2 back in. We haven't made any adjustments or tweaks to it, but that's probably going to be the base for the MP5K.
That sounds cool. I need to play with that, actually. I need to grab that dev branch because I totally forgot to do that. I was going to attach it to the last build. I just spaced that. I'll sort it out.
Oh, that would be cool, actually, because if it's in-game, I can start doing model stuff with it. And if I can start doing model stuff, then Sprite can start animating.
Brilliant. That'd be great to get going on that. There's no rush, obviously, but anything that we can do.
Okay. Next question. I think this is a question more for One Up than anybody else. Blixibon asks, have you been taking advantage of follower waypoints?
No.
I don't even know what those
That's
are.
a good question, but I'm not familiar with follower waypoints.
I'm not sure what these
That
are
sounds like
either.
something that would be helpful.
I'm assuming this is
So that,
something.
we might need to reach out to him after the stream to talk about this because it sounds very important to what we were discussing.
Yeah, Blix, if
Oh.
you're still there, feel free to let us know you're on Discord or whatever. and
Yeah.
we'll
Oh,
get in touch.
Blixibon. He was the one that was offering to possibly help us with the antline interaction.
Oh yes.
Oh shit!
Wait. Yes. We
with
will.
the animations for the
Yeah.
Yeah. We will see you up ahead.
yeah.
I've always
I
wanted to
like
see.
I'm loving it.
We need to have a chat with Blix because I think that would be cool to get some of that stuff in.
Yes, very good. Let's see what else is there. Kenny Alexander asks, will this be longer than Entropy 01?
Yeah, so currently with the design that we're going in the story at the minute, it's already a little bit longer than it was this point. I think we're an extra map ahead of where we would be at Entropy 01. I'm talking like as in we're at chapter 2 and we're adding an extra map. Chapter 1 had an extra map. So yeah, it will definitely be longer. The end of chapter 1, the extra map was a dream sequence, but this extra map for chapter 2 that we're talking about, this is going to be like an actual proper map that you're going to have to play through and get through. So yeah, I think going by the way we're going at the minute, I think it will be longer.
Could
We've
still
got-
have a dream sequence map in chapter 2.
Actually, because we're thinking of adding more of those dream sequences, aren't we? About
Yes,
the whole,
yeah.
Yeah. We still for me to discuss that as well, the whole host body thingamajig.
Yeah, there's a whole other story that needs to be told there.
Still need to get a Haku model.
Heku.
Let's see, any more? Liam asks, immolator? I'm guessing he's asking if we're going to add the immolator as a weapon. I doubt it.
No, I don't think we'll be adding the immolator. If that's in reference to the flare gun stuff that we were talking about, our unique spin on it, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to guess it because it's quite
Even unique here.
it's quite unique. Yeah.
I never would have thought of it in a million
It's
years.
pretty obscure too, actually. I was I didn't know it was a proper thing, but
Don't read
it
the Trello.
is, so it'll be cool.
Oh yeah, the Trello.
Don't read the Trello. Another massive disclaimer: do not read our Trello if you want to avoid spoilers, because that is full of fucking
Yeah,
huge
it's
spoilers.
all over there. You know, I didn't even think about that. There's all us being like, oh, we better be careful, boys, and it's literally all on the internet. It's just there.
Trello's a bit more niche, though. I doubt the majority of people will be like scouring our Trello, whereas the stream is more accessible. So that's why.
Yeah, you'd have to go through the cards and everything to get the juicy bits. Just saying for anyone out there who likes to like mine this shit. It is on there though. Yeah.
And just because Liam won't shut up about it, Strider or Gunship co-op, I'm thinking not. No.
What? Strider co-op, as in multiplayer co-op?
I have no frigging clue what he means by it.
I assume he might.
Does he
I
mean
just deleted
co-op?
my mesh. Right, let me just undo. Okay, pressing the X key deletes your mesh. Apparently, didn't know that. Learn something new every day. I think what he means is like a commandable strike, like with the soldiers and the hunter. I think that's what he means.
Oh,
I
right.
wondered if that's what he meant. We did talk briefly about possibly adding support for that to the hunter. I don't know how that would work for something as large as a Strider.
You could
That's-
do
I'm
it like
kind of-
Do you know in has anyone here played Halo Reach? Before I go off.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know that bit where you get the artillery scanner and you go shoot there?
Yes,
And
yeah.
it blows up like 8 wraiths in like one shot. Something like that with Strider could work, but like you press a key in the same way, but instead of moving to that location, it just kind of shoots or something, or maybe
That's
something like
interesting
a gunship. I don't know.
because
I think either of those two could maybe work because otherwise.
so the Strider attack thing works in the same way that the Combine, when they throw a grenade, funny enough, it works in the same way. So you essentially feed it an entity name. So if we were able to sort of maybe tell the Strider when we press a key, and I know this is getting like deep waters here, but you could tell the Strider, or you tell the game to create an entity that the Strider would then shoot at when you press a key. So much like the point at a place on the floor for the command points and send the soldiers over there, you could point at a building and have a Strider destroy it, which would be kind of cool.
Absolutely. It's
I can see
totally
that being
feasible.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Especially if we kind of combine our efforts between Hammer, kind of scripting it through the inputs and outputs, as well as having like maybe a weapon to point it or a key. I imagine that would be something different from the squad commands, right? Because it's like you're specifically painting targets, so almost like some
What's
kind of
that?
like
Sorry.
laser pointer or something. I don't know if that situation will ever come
Oh
up
yeah, you zap
in
it to blow it up.
Entropy
But now
Zero
we'll be
Two. Like
pointing.
I don't know if that's something that would be part of the story ever. It's feasible, but like I don't. It might be getting a little bit ahead of where we're at.
Just make Striders usable, like in the Half-Life 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
That
don't
wasn't a serious suggestion. Sorry.
know. It's all right.
I don't think bad cop riding about on a Strider.
Well, I don't know.
It just digs out its brain and goes, "My Strider." It's like Ratatouille, but with bad cop and a Strider.
I think he just sort of straddle it, just sort of sit on
That's
top
what
of
I was
the
thinking.
R2, just like be
Yeehaw!
shooting off.
I need someone needs to make art of that now.
Yeah, Trivy, I think
with,
that's going to be another poster.
with with the bad cop on top of a Strider. Yeah.
He's got to have like a Stetson hat that he's like half holding. He's just like, yeah.
Exactly. That is what we'll do.
So just to talk quickly on Striders in Entropy 02, I wanted to sort of pull inspiration from Pistol 3 and also some artwork that we got from Valve like ages ago of Freeman like rappelling these Striders in the Arctic. I don't know if you guys saw that artwork. It's quite, I mean, it was a while ago now. I kind of wanted to have us sort of driving the APC through the like Arctic and then have like a bunch of Striders making their way sort of with us up to this other building, and they'd sort of take pot shots at rebels as we're sort of driving to sort of assist us.
Hunters.
And with us, we would have a pack of hunters. So how do we keep up with the hunters? Oh, well, I mean, obviously they'll follow us, but we're in the APC. So instead of having soldiers that are like left in the dirt, literally, you've got hunters that can keep up with the APC and sort of run alongside you as you're driving the APC, and then they can help you like flush out rebels along the way. That was
As long
my
as you don't
thinking.
accidentally run them over.
Yeah, and then kill them instantly.
Oh god, there'll need to be voice lines for that.
That would be hilarious.
He like names every hunter like a dog or something. Like, oh no, I hit Lassie.
Oh no,
shit,
Chansey!
right. Oh no,
welcome,
Lassie
Sprite.
too.
We're gonna have to wrap up soon, folks.
Yeah, let me just see if there's any more questions. Oh, this is an easy one. Evan asks, is there a reason Bad Cop is in the Arctic? If you've been following us from the beginning, you know.
Actually, yeah. So basically, I think everyone knows that the main sort of what do you call it? The main sort of objective. Now, are we happy to talk about that?
Name dropping it. Did we name drop the big bad?
I
mean,
d-
not the.
Do you mean this is difficult? Are you talking about CC? Or are you talking
No,
about?
no, I'm talking about JM.
Oh yes, JM. Right. Are we called to talk about that?
I don't know. It's up to you, man.
Well, I think we could talk
we
about
could just
JM.
be vague and say we're chasing rebels up in the Arctic because they
Yeah.
they discovered something. The Combine have been tracking them, and the rebels have discovered something up in the Arctic, and we've been sent to investigate.
Yeah, so essentially we've been given a prime objective, which is to go to the Arctic and retrieve somebody. And that sort of plays in, I think, quite nicely with Half-Life 2's canon. It sort of works with it without sort of interfering too much with the stuff that Gordon experiences, which is kind of That's what I want. That's what I wanted to do with Entropy 01, and that's what we're doing here. So it's sort of, you could play it as like a complement. You can consider it as like a complement to the original canon. It doesn't necessarily have to be, canon. But like how Opposing Force doesn't necessarily have to be canon to Half-Life 1. But so we're in the Arctic because of reasons. There's a person up there of interest that we're going to retrieve.
Yeah, and I think that's all the questions that are there at the moment. I think that's it. Especially seeing
Cool.
as you have not much time, we can wrap it up right now.
Yeah, I think it's just time of the year. It's just I've got so much going on. I've got to do some rapping and stuff,
I've done all that already. Casual.
Oh, I'm totally casual.
Oh shoot! I haven't even done that yet.
Yeah, Sprite Cranberry.
Hi, Sprite.
Yes, I would like a Sprite cranberry, please.
Well, I guess we should wrap it up. So thanks for coming and chilling out with us. Seeing obviously chapter 2 is coming together. We're doing loads of work, as you can see. We've got lots planned. I'm really excited about this project. I can't wait to see where it goes. I know you guys are. So yeah, just we'll keep you posted, keep your eyes on the website and everything. We'll come back with a stream probably, I don't know dates or anything, but it won't be long into the new year. It'll be like the first weekend or something into the new year. We can show off what we've done. Probably not much because I plan on drinking a load of beer soon and basically eating everything for the next couple of weeks. But yeah.
So all of us here at the Entropy Zero team, have a Merry Christmas.
Have a very, very Christmas. Have a brilliant Christmas.
And then just play some Christmas music to play us out.
If I had any, I would.
If I had any.
But so anyway, here's Path of Borealis. No, I'm not going to play. Right. Thank you and good night.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.